Hi, it's Pete Cohen here. Now, in this YouTube video, I'm going to be showing you how to stop being distracted. Life is like being on a train. You've got to stay on the tracks. You've got to have traction between where you are and where you want to go. In the video, I'm going to show you how to stop being distracted and get you the traction that you're looking for. Let's do this. So why are we always distracted? Well, of course, everyone is different, but the reality is it is so easy for us to get distracted by all of the things that are grabbing on our attention. I don't actually think we're designed to live in this modern world. Why? Because there is too much information. We've often mentioned it on some of our YouTube videos that the man who won the Nobel Prize in 1972 said the biggest problem in the world is too much information. Now, I don't know how old you were in 1972. Chances are you weren't even born. But the fact is, with all of this information, it leads to so many people being challenged to focus on something. I think one of the most valuable things that we own is our attention. And in this video, I want to really show you the power of focus, how if you can control it, you can dominate. You can dominate any area of your life. I think one of the most fascinating things about human beings is that we can choose. And with all of the things that do distract us, ultimately it is down to choice. These things aren't distracting us on their own, it's because we're allowing them to do that. And I really want to dive into the subject of distraction. What's the opposite of distraction? Well, it probably won't come as any surprise, but it's traction. And if we look, because many of you know who watch our videos, you know I love where words come from. And the origin of the word traction comes from a Latin word, tahere, which means to draw us forwards. So with everything that we do, we have the opportunity for it to draw us forwards so we improve and we get better. I think ultimately that's what we all really want to do. We all want things to be better, but I think many of us don't often want to do the work, and that's why we get distracted. And all distraction means is being pulled away from the things. Your mind gets taken away. Remember, the mind is a very powerful thing, but if you don't take control of your mind and you don't step up to the fact that your mind will play tricks on you, you will be a victim of so many of the things that people are a victim to. So what are the challenges that you have? What are the things that distract you? Is it social media? Is it drugs? Is it TV? Is it alcohol? What is it? Is it food? Is it gambling? All of these things really are designed with the companies that produce all of these things to distract us away. You know, even Steve Jobs wouldn't let his children have an iPhone or an iPad because he knew of the addictive nature. Even Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, didn't want a phone in his office. Why? Because he knew it would distract him away from doing the work that he needed to do. Now, as a sports psychologist, I've worked with so many great athletes, and it's fascinating to see the athletes that really retrain and regain their focus of attention, because our brains are not designed to multitask. So it's absolutely essential that we wake up to what is going on. So when we invent the ship, guess what we also invent? The shipwreck. And that's what social media can do. It's an amazing tool. I mean, what's the likelihood of you watching this YouTube video from beginning to end? Statistically, you'd say it was pretty unlikely, because they say, whoever they are, that you can't focus your attention on something for very long unless, of course, it grabs your attention. So here's a challenge for you. I'd love you to get a piece of paper and put a line down the middle. On one side, put down distraction, and the other side of it, traction. And start thinking about all of the things that you do every single day that is either pulling you away or moving you towards. But ultimately, when you look at the things that pull you towards, you've got to have a big enough reason for doing these things. And we talk about this in many of our YouTube videos, because ultimately the future will see two types of people. It will see people that literally get distracted with everything, always seeking instantaneous gratification, wanting to feel good in the moment, and we'll see another group of people who are just indistractable. They know what they want and they go out and make it happen. So let me ask you the question. Who do you want to be? History would probably tell us that you would carry on being who you've always been. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Are you ready to create a new identity? Are you ready to set your ship on a different sail? Are you prepared to become more? Let me ask you this question. I asked this to a whole group of people I was speaking to the other day. I said, what will be your greatest achievement? And some of the people started telling me about what they've done. And I said, no. Not what you've done, what you're going to do. What will be your greatest achievement? Might it be that you decide to give less into distraction and minus oneing every time you do it, and you start plus oneing as you move your life forwards? So take the time to do this exercise. But what I'm about to say to you now is deeply profound. And it's this. Are the challenges that you have, so if you have any challenges with things like social media or food or alcohol or drugs or gambling, things that you do that distract you away from doing other things, are they the problem, or are they the proximate cause of the problem? What I mean by this, is there something going on underneath you that would make you want to behave in those ways? Look, when we look at psychology and we look at what motivates and what drives human behavior, many people believe that it's a desire to avoid pain and gain pleasure. But psychologists are now saying, probably more than ever, that what really motivates people is just a desire to get out of pain. That if something is uncomfortable, you'll have a drive to get out of it. So have you ever felt bored? Have you ever felt lonely or sad or anxious? It's unlikely if you feel any of those emotions that you want to continue to feel them. There'll be a part of your brain that will immediately go, I need to get out of this pain. And that's why we do a lot of what we do. And I want you to first off know that, look, you're not alone. The world is full of people right now that behave in ways that maybe they wish they didn't, but these are giving you something. When I was young, it was definitely gambling. It was definitely lots of different things that I did because I wasn't very comfortable with who I was. I didn't feel I was good enough. I was trying to prove myself to the world. So if I wasn't doing anything, I'd feel uncomfortable, and then I'd feel compelled to do something that potentially could give me something back in return. And really, when we look at what is the antidote to instantaneous gratification, the antidote to distraction, it is forethought. It's thinking ahead. It's taking the time to think about the consequence of your actions. Look, one of the greatest stories that many people have heard is the story of Ebenezer Scrooge. And of course, when Scrooge sees his future, he's comfortably uncomfortable in his life, but it takes for him to have a dream on Christmas Eve to see how his life will end up, for him to wake up and go, I really don't want that, to have the forethought to start behaving in a way that he could make things different. You don't have to be your past. You don't have to be a victim of what you've done in the past. You can get traction and you can start to create masterpiece days. Look, ultimately, one day it's all going to end, right? And they say, whoever they are, that the greatest land in the world is the graveyard. Why? Because so many people's greatest ideas have been buried with them. They never had the courage because they gave in to distraction. Is the time not right for you to show the world what you're really capable of? Start off by getting a piece of paper, write on one side of it distraction and then traction, and think about what you do and all of those things that are taking you. Think about the bait that is clicking you or tricking you to go in places that maybe you think afterwards, you know what was I doing? I really wasted time. I'd love to know where your distractions are and where you would like to get traction in your life. Feel free underneath to comment. And lastly, look, With everything that we do with My 365, which is the name of our coaching business, the M stands for the mindset, helping you set your mind on where you want to go. And the I is about being inspired, breathing life into where you want to go. The I is identifying with who you could possibly be and the impact that you can have, and becoming indistractable. That you become so strong, it's like your superpower, that when you feel your attention is being taken away from you, that you have the ability to bring it back, to focus on the most important thing, on who you are and where you're going. Comment below, let us know, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.